Hello and welcome to IAMC Radio and Podcast. Let's explore some of the top news headlines for today, January 13th.
Yeah, it looks like we've got quite a busy news day, with everything from political intrigue to economic maneuvering and even a dash of the supernatural.
Oh, you're not kidding. Right here in Nigeria, the Oyo State House of Assembly just saw a major shakeup with the impeachment of Speaker Obasa.
Yeah, those charges are pretty serious, gross misconduct and abuse of office, especially considering they stem from these allegations of using proxy companies for embezzlement and violating procurement regulations.
And while Obasa is calling these claims politically motivated nonsense, that video of Mohisola Miranda being sworn in as the new speaker, it definitely paints a picture of some rapid change happening in Lagos.
For sure raises a lot of questions about the stability of the Lagos government, doesn't it? I mean, will this impact ongoing projects and policies? What's it going to mean for the relationship between the Assembly and Governor Sanwo-Olu? And of course, will the EFCC investigation actually lead to, concrete action?
Well, it'll be fascinating to see how this unfolds, that's for sure. Meanwhile, across the border in Ghana, newly elected President John Mahama is taking a very different approach to governance, one focused on drastic cost cutting.
Yeah, slashing the number of ministries from 30 down to 23, that's certainly a bold move, especially when you compare it to President Tinubu's expansion of the cabinet here in Nigeria.
It seems like Mahama is taking a page right out of the IMF playbook with these austerity measures, but will they be enough to stabilize Ghana's economy? And what does this signal about his leadership style compared to, his predecessors?
It's a stark contrast, isn't it? It really highlights the diverse approaches that leaders are taking to tackle, these economic challenges in the region. But one thing's for sure, Mahama's actions are going to be closely watched by both Ghanaians and, international observers.
Speaking of new leadership, there's a sense of resolution in Oyo State as Prince Hakeem Abimbola Awodi officially takes the mantle as the new elephant.
Yeah, finally ending over 2 years of legal and social wrangling since the passing of Oba Lamidi Adeyemi III. This definitely marks a new chapter for the Oyo Kingdom.
Governor Seyi Makinde has voiced confidence in Oba Awode, but the new elephant, he faces the task of unifying the kingdom after this period of uncertainty and navigating the complexities of modern leadership while upholding tradition.
It'll be interesting to see what direction Oba Awadi takes the Oyo Kingdom in, particularly in terms of economic development, cultural preservation, and even his relationship with the state government.
Now, shifting gears a little bit to some international incidents that caught our eye, a Nigerian man's arrest in Libya for possessing sorcery items. It raises quite a few questions.
Yeah, the limited details are definitely intriguing. What exactly are we talking about here? What constitutes sorcery items in this context? And how do Libyan laws, which are influenced by both Islamic tradition and modern legal systems, how do they deal with such a case?
Yeah, it highlights the complexities of those cultural clashes and legal interpretations when traditions intersect with these different belief systems. It'll be interesting to learn more about the specific accusations and the potential legal ramifications that this man faces.
Absolutely. I mean, this case could even spark broader discussions about freedom of belief and cultural sensitivity in international contexts. Meanwhile, in Kenya, the brief kidnapping of Tanzanian activist Maria Surengitehai, an outspoken critic of President Samia Suluhu Hassan, this has raised some alarms.
Her husband's suspicion of Tanzanian government involvement, though unconfirmed, adds another layer of intrigue to this already concerning incident.
Yeah, and Kenya's response to these accusations and the subsequent investigation, that'll be crucial, especially given the potential for this to escalate into a diplomatic issue between the two nations.
It certainly underscores the risks faced by activists who challenge those in power, even across borders. The situation definitely warrants further attention as it develops.
For sure. Switching gears now to some other global happenings, a 6.2 magnitude earthquake striking southwest Mexico on Sunday that served as a stark reminder of the region's seismic vulnerability.
Thankfully, initial reports indicate no immediate damage or casualties, but it does prompt questions about Mexico's preparedness strategies and the potential long-term impact on infrastructure and communities in the affected area.
Exactly. While we often focus on the immediate aftermath, the economic and social consequences of natural disasters like this, they can unfold over time and require sustained attention. And speaking of attention-grabbing news, South Korea's suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol receiving a 3% pay raise despite facing impeachment. This has understandably fueled public outrage.
The optics are certainly terrible, especially when you contrast it with the significantly smaller minimum wage increase. It raises questions about the disconnect between the government and the people you know, further eroding public trust in the political system.
Yeah, the controversy surrounding this decision will likely continue to simmer, potentially adding fuel to the fire of the impeachment proceedings and impacting upcoming political maneuvers.
Finally, the news of troubled aircraft manufacturer Boeing offering to help Nigerian airlines secure aircraft insurance. This is intriguing to say the least.
Yeah, considering Boeing's recent struggles with safety concerns, production halts, and a general loss of trust, this move could be interpreted in a few different ways.
Is it a genuine attempt to help Nigerian airlines who are struggling with insurance costs? Or is it a calculated PR maneuver to repair Boeing's tarnished image and regain a foothold in a key market?
Only time will tell how this offer is received and what impact it'll have on Boeing's reputation and relationships in the region.
Yeah, it's a fascinating example, isn't it, of how even these industry giants, they have to navigate the court of public opinion and rebuild trust after setbacks.
Speaking of navigating tricky situations, it's hard to imagine a scenario where giving South Korea's suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol a raise while he's facing impeachment wouldn't spark backlash. I mean, the timing couldn't be worse, right? Especially when you contrast it with that, significantly smaller minimum wage increase. It almost feels like a deliberate provocation, further alienating the public and fueling these accusations of government elitism.
Went back to Mother Nature's agenda for a moment. The earthquake in Mexico, it really reminds us of the forces beyond our control and the importance of preparedness.
Yeah, it's a wake-up call, isn't it? To not become complacent even when things seem calm. Mexico has a history of these devastating earthquakes and investing in infrastructure resilience and disaster response systems. I mean, it's crucial to minimizing damage and saving lives.
Absolutely. While immediate relief efforts are vital, it's equally important to address the long-term economic and social consequences that often unfold in the wake of events like this.
Yeah, speaking of consequences, the kidnapping of Tanzanian activist Maria Sarungit in Kenya, that raises some serious concerns about the lengths to which regimes may go to silence dissent.
The fact that it happened in Kenya, a country generally considered relatively stable, that adds to the uneasiness. If these accusations of Tanzanian government involvement prove true, it could have significant implications for regional stability and freedom of expression.
Definitely. It's a stark reminder that the fight for human rights, it transcends borders and requires constant vigilance.
Now, the arrest of the Nigerian man in Libya for possessing sorcery items, it offers a glimpse into the clash between cultures and legal systems.
Right. What might be considered harmless traditional practices in one culture can be viewed with suspicion and fear in another, leading to, these misunderstandings and legal entanglements.
It highlights the need for cultural sensitivity and understanding, especially in our increasingly interconnected world. The outcome of this case will be interesting to follow, as it could set a precedent for how Libyan courts address issues of cultural beliefs and practices.
For sure. Turning back to Nigeria now, the inauguration of Oba Owode as the new Alafin marks a moment of transition and opportunity for the Oyo Kingdom.
He steps into a role that's steeped in history and tradition, inheriting the legacy of his predecessor, Oba Lamidi Adeyemi III, who reigned for over 5 decades.
Oba Owode faces the challenge of balancing respect for the past with the demands of the present, How will he address issues like youth empowerment, economic development, and cultural preservation in a rapidly changing world?
And how will he navigate the relationship between the traditional institution of the Alafin and the modern political structures of Oyo State? It's a delicate dance, and his leadership will undoubtedly shape the trajectory of the kingdom for years to come.
Meanwhile, Ghana's president, Mahama, is taking a bold approach to economic challenges with these austerity measures.
Slashing 7 ministries, that's no small feat. It'll be crucial to assess the impact on government efficiency and service delivery. Will it lead to streamlined operations or create gaps in crucial areas?
Right. Some argue that it's a necessary step to rein in spending and stabilize the economy, while others worry about potential job losses and, reduced government capacity.
It's a gamble, and only time will tell whether Mahama's strategy will pay off in the long run.
It's certainly a stark contrast to President Tinubu's expansion of the cabinet here in Nigeria, which some have criticized as contributing to government bloat and inefficiency. These contrasting approaches highlight the diverse paths that leaders are taking to address economic challenges in the region.
And then there's the ongoing drama surrounding Lagos Assembly Speaker Speaker Obasa and the allegations of gross misconduct and abuse of office.
Yeah, the EFCC investigation will be crucial in determining whether these accusations hold water. If they're proven true, they could trigger a much-needed reckoning with corruption and accountability within the Lagos government.
This case has the potential to set a precedent for how seriously such allegations are treated. Will it be swept under the rug, or will it lead to meaningful reforms and a strengthening of checks and balances?
The outcome will undoubtedly have ripple effects throughout the political landscape, impacting public trust and the future direction of Oyo State.
It's fascinating how these seemingly isolated events, they can have far-reaching consequences impacting everything from political alliances to economic trends.
Yeah, it's a constant reminder that we live in this interconnected world where, the actions of one nation or even one individual can have ripple effects across the globe.
It's like the butterfly effect in action.
Yeah.
It makes you realize the importance of staying informed and engaged, because even seemingly distant events can ultimately shape the world we live in.
Absolutely. And it really underscores the power of individual choices, whether it's speaking out against injustice, supporting ethical businesses, or even just staying informed about current events. Each action contributes to that larger tapestry.
Well said. And with that, I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from political shakeups and economic maneuvering to cultural clashes and the ever-present forces of nature. It's been a whirlwind tour of current events.
Hopefully this exploration has, sparked some new insights and encouraged you to kind of delve deeper into those issues that resonate most with you.
Because ultimately staying informed is the first step towards making a difference.
Well, thank you for listening to today's top news headlines on IMMC Radio and podcast.